Hi, this is Marcus Curtis from Marcus Curtis Music, and today we're going to talk about the Tonex Pedal from IK Media. Now, there's a ton of videos on YouTube about this particular pedal. A lot of information out there, and there's a lot of repeat information. So in this video, we're going to try to avoid all of that, okay? For example, there are videos out there that will show you what this thing sounds like. They plug it in, and you can hear the amp models in this thing. And so we're not going to do that today. Now, you'll hear some amp models, but only in demonstration of other functions that are found in the pedal. And you probably already know by watching those videos that those amp models are incredible. This thing sounds great. And it's cool that it does really good amp models of your music here. So you can go in there and you can plug it in and you can model your own amplifier. And it does a really good job doing it, okay? So I'm not going to get involved in showing you how to do that because there's a lot of good videos out there that already give you that information. So what are we going to cover, right? Well, we're going to cover how to use this as an audio interface. And I'm not talking about recording music, okay? I'm talking about plugging it in and using it with third-party software. We're also going to do an operation guide. I'm going to show you what all the features are on the pedal, how to use the pedal and the global settings, what they all do, and that kind of stuff. We're going to focus on those key areas. Now, I've seen global setting videos and they've left some information out, so we're going to try and cover some information that you may or may not know. Maybe you might know some of this stuff. But what we're going to do is we're going to plug it in our computer, we're going to set it up, we're going to use a third-party software, we're going to use other amp modeling software with the Tonex, and we're going to really see what this thing can do. So stick with me, we're getting ready to dive in it right now, so let's go. Okay, so now it's time to open up our Tonex package. Now, this has already been opened, okay, so this is not an unboxing, so this just kind of slides out. I like to keep the box to store the gear, so when I'm done with the Tonex, I will put it back in its box. I'll use the box as a case, and the reason why I do that is because I use different audio interfaces and different gear, and I don't always use the same gear for the same project, so I like to keep the boxes to use them as a case. Now, when you open this up, you're going to get a couple of cards. I'm not going to flip them over because they have my registration codes. Once you get this Tonex, you want to go to IK Media and set up an account with them, and then register your Tonex. Once you register the Tonex, you're going to be able to download the drivers for your computer. You're also going to get the Tonex software, which costs a lot of money, but it comes free when you purchase the Tonex pedal. You're also going to get a version of Amplitude 5. You're not going to get the entry-level version. You're going to get a pretty good version of Amplitude 5. And if you were to go out and buy that stuff separately and then buy the Tonex, then hardware, then you're going to spend a lot of money. So what you want to do is buy the Tonex hardware and get the software without having to purchase it. So buy this first, okay? Okay, so now you have this little part down here. We're just going to pull that up, and underneath that we're going to find our power supply, okay? And you have these little caps that go on it. I'll show you those in a second. And then we have our USB cable that plugs into the computer, okay? And then you have these little deals that attach to the power supply. So depending on what country you're in, I guess, is how these things are going to work, okay? So we are in America, so we use this one right here. These are the ones we're not going to use. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the Tonex out of the box, okay? Throw it over there. So now we've got to set up our power supply. And you see, our power supply here has a little catch right here. And this little thing, you have a little ridge. I don't know if you can see that or not, but that just kind of goes up in this right here, and this comes down and snaps right in place like that. Now we can plug it in, and there's a little catch and release deal here that if you hit it, it pops it right off. So we're gonna put this right back on, set it to the side. We're gonna plug it in a minute, okay? Now in the back of the Tonex, we'll look at the back here, and you can see, as we turn it around, you can see we have our input for our guitar. We have our left and our right out. So we're going to plug this into our Behringer mixer. If you don't want to plug it into an amplifier or a mixer, you have headphones right there. Then you have MIDI in and MIDI out. So we can use like a MIDI pedal to turn on and off functions. And then we have an extended control out. So this would be like a if you have like a Boss pedal or something like that, you might see these CTL control functions where you can do things like turn off the reverb and turn off and on the compressor, those kind of things. Well, this is an output for one of those switches. So if you buy one of those foot switches, you plug it into here. Here's our USB for our computer, and here's our power. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our left input, we're going to plug it in. We're going to take our right input and plug it in. and this is going to go into the Behringer mixer. And then we're going to take our cable for our guitar. It's going to plug in there. The drivers and everything is already installed on my computer. So you're going to want to make sure that's all set up before you plug this into your computer. Make sure you have everything downloaded and installed. But we're going to plug this in. There's our USB right there. And it goes like this. There we go. And then finally, last but not least, our power supply is going to go in right here. And when we power up the Tonex, plug it in right now. That should come on, warm it up, and there it is. The guitar we're using for our demonstration is going to be my cheapo Samick 7-string guitar. Now I say cheapo because I think I have like $150 into it. All right, now that we have the whole thing up and going, it's time to run it through its paces. But first, a disclaimer: I have broken my finger a couple months back, and it's still a little bit painful. So I'm going to play probably some sloppy guitar. I haven't played guitar in about 3 months, 4 months. So just bear with me as we do this, okay? So our first preset right here is the XK800. 0 represents our bank number. There are 3 presets per bank, as you can see. A, B, and C. Okay, you change your preset, you just click on that foot switch and it changes that preset. So this preset is more of a mild driving preset you can use with open chords. Have it on your bridge pickup, you know, and it sounds, you know. Okay, so that's more or less what that sounds like. A little bit cleaner one here. Here is a spring reverb. I don't know which one. There's 3 spring reverbs in this thing. So let's see. If I play a bar chord B at the 7th fret and use that low 7 string, which has a B on it, you get a kind of a sense of that spring reverb there. So there you go, spring reverb. Now, to change your preset, it's pretty simple. Just hit the B and the C to go up. So we're going to hit it one time, we're on bank 1, everything turns to yellow, hit it again, and we're up to bank 2 now. To go back the other way, you just hit the A and the B together, and now we're going down. So B and C takes you up, and A and B takes you down. And once you get to the bank you want, just select the preset you want, and it's simple, hit an A right here. Alright, so now this 5150, this is an Eddie Van Halen type of amp right here, like a PV. So, you know, it sounds like this. So you get the idea what it sounds like. And so here's our 3 presets for this bank. So that's how you navigate presets using the foot switch. Now there's another way to do it with this preset knob right here. As we turn this, we're going to see we went to our second bank. Turn it again. This is a United Kingdom 800, probably Marshall. And here's a Fender Twin. And as we go up, you can see the various amps that are in this thing. Here's an orange amplifier. So this is another way to change presets. We go up or down. We're going to go all the way up. We're just going to fly through some of these banks here. And you can see there's a lot of banks, but it goes all the way up to bank number 49. So 0 to 49, that's 50 banks. And 3 presets per bank, that's 150 presets that you can access on this thing. Now, you can load your own presets on here. You can model your own gear. You can measure it and put it on here in any kind of preset you want. And then you could save it on the computer. That's what the software does. Okay. So this preset knob right here is more or less a overview of all the presets together. If we want to rename a preset, we can hit this knob, hold it down actually, and see these letters start blinking. To change the letter, all we have to do is use this knob to change our letter. Now we're on K, and we use this knob to go up and down. So here we are. Say we want to do, let's do this. Then we can change it one more time. And let's go down this. And we can even add more letters if we want. Okay, and when we get to where we want the name to be, all you have to do is hit it again. 49C is asking you what bank do you want to save this preset to, and we just go ahead and select the bank we want. Well, we're going to keep it where it is. Select it again, and it has saved. We have just saved the name and changed the name. Now, if you change these things, and you made changes to your preset, it turns the light yellow, telling you need to make changes. If you don't want to make the changes, just change your preset and come back, and you're back to where things were. If you do want to make changes to your preset, hold this button and this button down together, and now you've just saved any changes you've made on the amp by doing that. Okay, so you can also lock this out. If you hold your finger down here and push that at the same time, you've entered lock mode. Okay, now whenever we turn a knob, it's locked. We can also turn this knob, it's still locked. The only way we can change our presets now is with the foot switches. So if we go down, we can still change our preset this way. We can go back up to where we were. Okay, so we're on a bass preset right now. Now we can unlock it too by holding that and this knob and this knob together. We're going to do that right now. And now we've just unlocked it. And now we can turn this, and all the knobs work again. Okay, so these are all the knobs that control our amplifier in our preset. Okay, this is a clean preset. I'm going to go back to the bridge pickup. You can hear what it sounds like, and then we're going to make some changes. You can hear what that sounds like. So this is a basic clean preset here. Okay, like a Fender Twin Reverb or something. Okay, so we have our gain, we have our bass, our mid-range, our treble, and our volume, and this will control all of that stuff. Okay, now this is more of a global knob. This knob at the end is a global knob for the amp. Okay, if we hold this down, the alt light lights up, and now we can control the amount of reverb. We were at 18, now we're at 52. Let's see what that sounds like. Oh yeah, lots more reverb. We can turn it down a little bit if we need. Okay. Okay, this is our compression, and right now it's set to our threshold, so we can raise our compression. Here's our noise gate, so we can control the noise gate. Here's our presence, and here is a depth control for all of that. Okay, so if we don't like the settings that we've done or the changes that we've done, we can always hit the B button, and then we can go back to the C button, and we're good to go. Okay, now as long as that alt light is up, we will be able to make the changes of the reverb, the compressor, the noise gate, the presence, and the depth. If I hold this down again and that alt light goes away, now we have access to the gain, the bass, the mid-range, the treble, and the volume. So this is like a global knob for the amp in and of itself. So if I hold that knob down, I have model volume. So this actually, I'm on noise gate. Okay, model volume. And if I push it again, I can control the overall volume of the amp model. This is going to adjust the reverb, the compressor, all that stuff. This is like a main adjustment for the entire model and any effect you have going into that model. Okay, so we're going to go back to the model. We're going to turn it again, And now here's our noise gate. And with the noise gate, if I push this in, I can turn the noise gate is off. If I want to turn it on, I can turn it on, and now the noise gate is on. Then I turn it again, and I have a noise gate release. Turn it again, I have noise gate depth. And each time you want to make an adjustment with one of these parameters, you just push the knob in to make your adjustment. When you're done, push the knob to come back out. And I have a compressor. I can turn the compressor on and off here. There we go. And then compressor gain. This is a compressor attack. This is a pre or post, so you can set it where you want in the patch. This is our bass frequency. We can set what frequency we want the bass knob to control. We can set the mid EQ, the mid frequency. So if you know anything about EQ, this is you're choosing the frequency, then you're choosing how wide you want that frequency to adjust. Okay, and here is our treble frequency. Here's our EQ patch. Again, it's pre or post. Okay, and then here is mix. One more button to go over here, and that is the global button right here. So when we push this right down here, we can see Excalibur. We can change our amp. See, this is how we change our amp. So we can change our amp within our preset simply by doing that. We push it down again, it says amp. Push it again, it says cab. Push it again, we're on model. And we go over here. Now it says VIR. This would be your IRs. Okay, so your virtual stuff. So if you have your own IRs, you can switch it from the models or the IRs. You can switch. Now if you have it on model here and you hit it again, you can change the cab model. So there we go. Okay. Now if we hit it and hold it down, we see presets. Okay. And then we see global. So these are our global settings. So we'll go down to the preset, okay? Cabinet 5. We hit that, okay? Now we're on external cabinet. This is our external out. Remember we had that pedal that would plug in the back? So this is how we would program that pedal right in here. Okay, so we can also, if we want to, turn our amp model off if we want to. Now the whole amp model is turned off. We can also turn our cab model off, and it's just a matter of pushing in the button and twisting to adjust our parameter setting. So right now our cab model is active, and now it's bypassed. So we have just turned our cab model off, and we've turned our amp model off. And notice we have our yellow light down here again. So if we hit it again, okay, and just hold it down, we're back to our preset 5. Or we can go to the global. Now the global is all the global presets. We'll cover that in a minute. Let's go back and there's naming. Okay. If we hit this down, we can do the bank plus the name. If we do this, we get the PC preset number plus the name. If we do it right here, it's just the name. So now when we go down to here, or we go to there, okay, now we have just the name of the preset. If we hold that down, okay, go into global again, push that down, go into naming again, and put it back to bank plus name, okay. Here's our bank number with our name. Okay, so there's adjustments like that we can do with this. So we're going to hold this preset down, okay. We're going to go up to global again, hit it again. We have naming, bank name, okay. Cab. That'll adjust whether you want the cab active or if you want to use your turn it off. Cab got user mode. Okay, in user mode, we hit that. We have advanced, or we can go easy, and that basically changes the way this parameter knob down here works. Okay, so we're going to go back up another one. External control. That's that external switch in the back. Dual switch, okay, dual switch mode. And we have a lot of other modes here, MIDI channel, that kind of stuff. I'm not going to go through a lot of this stuff. Trim in. If your guitar's not loud enough coming in, then you can push that and adjust the volume of the guitar coming in if it's not. Or if it's too hot and you want to turn your pickups down, this is another way to do that. Okay, so that's to trim in. Then we're going to come in again, main volume, okay, that's the main volume out. And then we have interface. Okay, so we hit that down, and this we can raise the volume if we're using this as an interface and it's not loud enough. This is a way to raise the volume. Okay. Now this is operation. This is an important one. This is one we're going to have to remember when we go to the computer. Okay, when we hold in operation, it says live. Right now, we're pulling the amp models from inside the hardware. If we turn it to interface, now we've made it an interface and we've turned off the internal amps, and everything we're pulling from comes from the computer. Okay, so if you're going to use this as an interface, you need the interface selected to be interface, not live. Okay, by turning it live, we turn the amp models back on again. Okay, USB out, that determines the type. We can do stereo, left and right, or we can do dual. So we have two different amps going out, or two independent outputs doing different things. Okay, then we have info, and this is our firmware 1.0.5. so the info basically displays your firmware. One more up is factory. We can restore our factory presets, and all we have to do is hit it again. It says sure, and you hit it again, and it's going to be restoring the factory presets. What it's going to do is going to take all the internal settings back to factory, but it's not going to overwrite your presets. Unlike other hardware, when you do a factory preset, it overwrites everything that you've stored in there. Here, when you do a factory preset, it leaves your presets alone and just goes through the internal settings and then puts that on the factory defaults. Okay. Okay, now the fun stuff begins. We have our drivers downloaded and installed. You can see if we go down here and click this little box that says IK Media, and here's our drivers, okay? And we are at 512 samples. That's our buffer settings, okay? Volume, input and output channels, info about the drivers as far as that kind of thing, and they're ASIO compatible, version 5.50, okay? So when you see this little red box here, you know that you have your drivers for your IK Media device, okay? And we are plugged in right now. If I pull up the Behringer app, you can see that the Tonex is in our auxiliary inputs 5 and 6. We're going to go ahead and minimize this again. We'll just do it by down here, I guess. Come on. Nope, right there. Come on. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and open up the Tonex software. If you open this up, and sometimes when you're setting it up, it might feed back a little bit. And if that's the case, just come down here real quick and mute this, and you should be okay. I'll show you why it feeds back. There it goes. Okay. So now, as you can see, we have this little box that has, we have Windows audio selected here. Our line in is the real tech type thing. What we're going to do is we're going to make this bigger. If we come down here and we stretch it out, you can see the whole thing gets bigger, just like that. Then another way we can do it is just go ahead and hit this and enlarge it. Now, we have the Windows audio. We need to change this. Remember, our drivers are ASIO. So we're going to go ahead and go ASIO. And it's going to switch over. Now, once it's switched over, now we can select our device. Right now, it's selected the Line 6 Pod Pro. We're going to change that to Tonex. And now the Tonex is selected. We're going to select an input right here. And we'll just do our input 1. And if we hit the control panel, that same box comes up, as you can see. We're going to change our buffer settings to 256. Just going for a lower latency. It really doesn't, I don't think you can hear a difference, but really, see how it changed it down here automatically? Okay, so we have ASIO. Number 1 input, Tonex, left monitor out, right monitor out. We're at 256 buffer, and we're going to click don't show again, because every time you change a tab up here, this is going to pop up. But if you click don't show again, you don't have to worry about that. So we can go ahead and close it. But before we do, I'll show you this tab right here, account. Just tells you you're online, okay? If you ever need to restore your purchases, you can kind of click on that. And this is info about the version of the software. So we're going to just go ahead and close this out. If you ever need to open that up again, just go up to here where these 3 lines are, click on that, and it comes right up. Make sure don't show again, and we'll have this blocked out. Right now we're on the player. This is where you come in and you can adjust
make your own settings, download other people's stuff, that kind of thing. The modeler tab basically is what we use to model our gear. So if you want to make profiles of your amplifiers and that kind of thing, this is where you do it. And I'll tell you, there's a ton of videos out there that can do a much better job explaining this than I could. And so I'm going to let them go ahead and do the talking. Okay, so when we go over here to Librarian, this is where we go ahead and take care of our tone amp as far as customizing it, loading presets, unloading presets, and changing things. So as you can see, here's our bank numbers right here. We're on 00, here's 01, here's 02. Right now, the preset we're using is on 03. This is this DZL preset, and it shows you the amp and stuff we're using. If we take this and pull this down, we'll pull it all the way down, and you can see here is the preset we were working with earlier. We changed the name on and all that kind of stuff. 49C. If I click on that, now 49C has loaded. Okay, we're using a Mesa Boogie Mark V and a Mesa Boogie 212 amplifier. Now, if I'm going to switch this to my neck pickup, and I'll go ahead and play a B. Here we're going to play a B minor. Got some awesome reverb. This thing has spring reverb, plate reverb, all kinds of stuff. So it's got some really good sounding reverb, as you can hear. We got some compression built into this tone and things like that. So you can custom make your own tones and then you can load them. And it's really easy to do that. What you do is, if you want to custom make this tone and you want to save it in your archive, all you got to do is click on it and pull it down, and it's going to go ahead and save it. So you just drop your preset right here, and this preset that you made is now saved in your archive right here. So here's my preset. I can load it anytime I want to. Let's say I want to load a preset from here. That's just a matter of finding. Let's see, what are we going to do here? Oh, MKV is what we started out with. Same type of setup almost. Just go ahead and grab that, and we're going to drag it up and let it go. And now we're going to hit overwrite, and it just loaded that preset here. And you can hear the difference. When I play it, you'll hear it. It doesn't have as much compression or reverb, and the all the EQ is taken back, less bass, less mid-range, that kind of thing. If I want to load the other one, all I have to do is come down here, and I can find it. Where is it? Right here, and drag it up, and I'm good to go. Just hit overwrite, and there it is. So now our preset is loaded. Okay, so it's a modified version. This preset is a modified version of this MKV preset right here. So now, these are all your factory presets. Okay, so if you ever want to restore your factory presets, they're in your software. Okay, so when you do a factory reset, it will not restore your presets because all your presets are in here. So you can, if something's not working right on the Tonex, you can just go do a factory reset and restore everything to factory as far as all the internal system settings. And you don't have to worry about your presets being erased. Okay, that's a cool thing that's not in any other hardware I've ever seen. So that's a really cool feature. I really like that. Up here in the Tonex section, you see our firmware 1.05. If you have firmware that says 1.03 or 1.04, you need to update that firmware. Now to do that, you're going to go over here to this arrow here, and you're going to put on that, and you're going to go down to firmware update. It's going to do that. Firmware is up to date, it says. But if it's not up to date, it will have different, this will probably be like yellow or something. You come down and hit update firmware, and it'll do it for you. Okay, there's other things that you can do as well. And this, as you can notice, you can export your entire library to the set presets down here. You can import the entire library that's down here, or you have a default library you can import. And also there's like a recovery thing that recovers everything. Okay, so that's that. Now, if you ever get a USB error and you need to fix that, that's what these two buttons do, these two arrows do. What this does is it pulls all the presets off of your Tonex, and it loads them in here. So if I hit this, you see it's syncing. And what it's doing is it's reloading. It's pulling all the presets that are loaded into the Tonex, and it's showing you where they are according to bank. And it's pretty easy to change these presets once they load. So we're going to go ahead and let them load. So all of our presets are now loaded. And anytime you want to change a preset, you just scroll to the bank that you want to change to, and just go ahead and click on that preset. And now that preset is loaded. So now this MKV-CR, which is more of a distorted version of that MKV preset. So here it is, better. Okay, now we're going to come back to this app, but for now we're going to close out of it, and I'm going to show you third-party stuff. Okay, so we're going to give you some background on some of this third-party software here. So once this closes out, you can see we have a lot of software loaded here, but I'm going to show you real quick. Here's the new archetype by Tom here. We're going to scroll down, and we have our quad cortex here, and this does what the Tonex does. So if you're doing a profile on the quad cortex, guess what? Now you can do profiles on the Tonex. This was what I think at one point $3,200 to $3,600 on these music sites, online music sites. Since the Tonex has come out, this thing has plummeted to $1,200. And so what we have here are these archetype plugins. And the cool thing about these is that they'll work inside your DAW, but they also have standalone versions. Now there's 3 that I have. I own the archetype Reba. I have a license for that. Archetype Tim Henson have a license for that, and the Tone King Imperial. Now it says $99 here. If you want any of this stuff, my advice is simple: go ahead and create an account and just wait, because they're going to send you an email, and this stuff is going to be on sale 2-3 months from now, and you can get this for half that. I paid $49 for the Tone King Imperial, and this one was, I think, like $59, and I paid $59 for this one. So all you got to do is sign up, create an account, wait. You're going to get a sale offer in the email. Then you can go and buy whichever one of these you want. Now the Mesa Boogie Mark II makes no sense because all this stuff is in the Tone amp. What you want is the artist builds, because you get some pretty cool stuff on this. Okay, so in addition to that, there are some other plugins I have, but I'll show you real quick. We're going to open up the, let's go, we have the Tim Henson archetype right here, but let's go down to the Tone King Imperial, and we're going to open that up. Now let's up, one of the things we can do is we can resize it by down here. We just click on that and go to medium, it's a little bit bigger, and then we can come down here and go to large. Now this is a standalone portion of the software. There's also a plugin. It'll come up inside your DAW. So if you want to reamp, you can use this inside your DAW as well. So like I say, create an account, wait for them to go on sale. Don't spend $100 on it when you wait and a few months and you'll get it for $49. Now you can use this sprocket right here to get the Tone amp to work with it, or the Tonex to work with it rather. So right now it's on Windows Audio. Remember, we want to switch it to ASIO. And once we do that, we have our output and our left and right out. Right now we're set up for the Pod X3 Pro. Go ahead and click on that. We're going to go down to the Tonex. Now we've selected the Tonex. We have Tonex out 1, Tonex out 2, and Tonex out on our Tonex in, the audio input channels in 1 and 2. Okay. If we hit the test button, you'll see that nothing works. So what we have to do is we have to go into the global settings of the Tonex, and we have to go into the operation. Now we have to switch it from live to interface. So this is how you do that.
Okay, remember we said earlier we need to turn the amps on the inside of the unit off and set it up as an audio interface in order to use this with our hardware. So we're going to do that now. We're going to hold down this button until we get to the preset, and we're going to turn it until we get to the global. Then we're going to hold it down again, and it says naming. We're going to go all the way over until we get to the parameter that says operation. Click on that. It says live. Then we're going to go ahead and go to interface. Now we've shut off the internal amps. Click on that again, okay, and then we're good to go. And that's it. Our amps are turned off in the unit. Now we can use our software.
Okay, so now let's go ahead and hit the test button, and you can see it comes in. Now it's working. We've made this an audio interface, but when we play a chord, we have lots of reverb, and that reverb doesn't come with this preset. That added reverb is coming from within the Tonex itself. Even though the amps are shut off, the reverbs are still working. So what we have to do is we have to make a custom preset for third-party software, which we're going to do in a second. But if I play a couple notes here, half that reverb is coming from the Tonex, the other half is coming from the Neural DSP. So what we're going to do is we're going to close this out, and we're going to close this out, and we're going to go ahead and open up the Tonex software again. Okay. Lots of reverb there, right? So what we're going to do is go down here to where it says preset. Now we're in preset. We're going to look for our particular preset that we have. And we're looking for is the MACS. There it is. There's our preset. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn off the reverb. We're going to turn off the noise gate. We're going to turn off the compression. Now if you hit this little deal here, you can see the settings for the compression. You do like your post or your pre and that kind of thing. So you can custom make your presets in here. We're going to turn off the amp, and we're going to turn off the cab. And our advanced parameters just comes up. We're going to reset the chain here. There we go. And we're going to go ahead and turn this off. There we go. So now what we're going to do is go ahead and save this. So we go over here to where it says download right here. And this little thing, and we're going to click on that. It gives us the preset name and all that kind of stuff. And then we're going to hit save. Max already exists. You want to replace it? Yes, I'm going to already replace it. So the next thing to do is go over to our librarian here. And now we're in our librarian. Here's our preset. We're going to go all the way down. And we're going to pull max up to here. Overwrite. There. Now we've shut our reverb off. So if we play this thing, all we got is a basic guitar tone. There is no amp. There is nothing working in the background. So we've basically made this special tone for using third-party software. So that's what that is. Now we're going to go ahead and get out of this. And we're going to reopen our Tone King plugin. Okay, and now when we play our preset, it sounds like this. You can actually hear the delay because it's not being smothered in reverb, see? I'll run you through this real quick. These things are pretty cool the way they're set up. So, you have this to set up your audio interface, right? And whatever you're using for MIDI, if you have some kind of a MIDI board that you're using to control this, you can set that up in here. And then you just make your MIDI commands in here. Not really too complicated. Here's your tuner if you want to tune your guitar. There's a metronome right here, and there's your, you can tap with your mouse, or you can set your tempo right there. You want to see the back of the amp, you just kind of click that to go to the back of the amplifier. Now this amplifier has a built-in attenuation. You can kind of turn it down if you want to. It's kind of cool. So you can really drive the amp and then turn down the volume using this. It's got a built-in HF compression, which is pretty nice sounding actually. Also on the amplifier is you can bypass the rhythm of the compressor over here. And then this turns off the amp. Okay, as you can see, as it turns it off, it blackens that out here. To go to the front of the amp, we just come down here and click, and we go back to the front of the amp. Okay, so the other cool thing about this amplifier is that you can change the way it looks. Just simply go up where it says Imperial, click on that, and the color scheme changes. So there's a couple different color schemes that you can choose from. And when you save your preset, whatever color scheme is loaded is going to be saved with the preset. So now up here is the signal chain. So this is your input meter, and this is your input. So if I play... Okay, so if I need to come down or go up, double click, brings it back to the middle. Here's our gate, right? If you want to add a little gate to it. There it goes. This is mono or this is stereo. Right now we have a mono. If I click at the stereo, notice we have a double bar here now. So Tone King, the Tonex will allow you to play stereo with the Tone King amplifier. Kind of cool. Come up here and we have a wah pedal. So you would need some kind of MIDI wah controller to use it. There's an auto wah. You can turn it on and have it auto wah for you if you want. And let's see. Set it active. Let's see what that does. There it goes. Okay, we'll turn that off real quick. Then the next thing over are things that go into the front of the amp. You have a compressor, an overdrive, and a second overdrive, so you can kind of blend your tones with this thing. Go ahead and turn this compressor off. Now the next thing we come to is the amplifier itself. Okay. And then we come over here, and here is the speakers, and you can take these mics and you can move them around however you want, right? And then you can use these knobs over here as well to move the mic. So you can use, here's our distance, and here's our position. So you can move it around this way, or you can move it around this way. Okay. And then you got a pan for the middle, and then how loud you want the mic to be. And just double click on these things. We'll bring it to the default positions. Okay. Then the next thing is you click on here, and you have a 9-channel EQ. Basically, you can turn on and off. Then the next thing is the effects in the back. So we have a chorus and a delay and a reverb. And finally, we have our output. And then we have our save. So if we make any kind of adjustments, we can save our patch. Now to load another patch, all you have to do is hit this little arrow, and the next patch loads. Okay, and if you want to access all the patches, you hit this, and you can see here's the factory patches, and here's all the artist patches that made various patches. A lot of great players in here that made patches for this thing. And that's what basically these things are. You'll have some effects in the back. You'll have your microphone settings and the various types of mics that you can use. If you want to switch your mic, you just go up here, and there's sections of them, lots to choose from here. And then you have your amplifier itself, and here we have a lead section and a rhythm section, and there's a spring reverb in here as well with a tremolo. And then you have the special section. This special section has a wah pedal, but each special section is different. And that's how these things operate. But what's cool is that you can use the Tonex to control any third-party software. Now that being said, we can use Amplitude 5. We're going to go ahead and open up Amplitude 5, but before we do, we're going to go over here just for safety reasons, and we're going to go ahead and mute our output speakers. Okay, so we're going to go over here and open up Amplitude, and it's going to load. All right, so there it is. And the first thing we're going to do is set up our drivers like we do with all these things. Open this up, audio MIDI, okay. Windows Audio, we're going to change that to ASIO. Okay, and we're going to change the output device to Tonex. And we have our left channel input and our right channel input, and our left channel out and our right channel out. And our buffer size, we're going to change to 256, and our control panel should be 256. Okay, so here's other preferences. Okay, we're going to keep it on host, and we're going to ignore all of this other stuff for now. Okay, so now our Tonex is up. We're going to go ahead and take our mute off of our speaker. So we're not on Windows Audio anymore, and we're going to go ahead and open this up. So now you can see we have our basic amp here, and notice that these are things that are all locked out. You have to buy these within the Amplitude, but there's a lot of things that we purchase we have access to. To purchase the things that you have access to, just go up to where this little deal is here, and you click on that, and now everything that you own that came with your Amplitude software is visible, and everything that you don't own that's locked is there. If you click this again, then all the locked stuff goes away. But if you look at this, there's a lot of stuff that you have. I mean, you have delays, you have distortion pedals, you have dynamics, and you have all this kind of stuff. And a Tonex will work with all of this stuff. And it's just a matter of taking the things you want, like say you want a delay, or maybe you want, let's see, maybe you want, this is, okay, so we got a clean tone. Maybe we want a chorus out there. So we're going to select a chorus and just drag it out here, and there it is. And we're going to adjust our chorus and our rate. You can actually kind of hear it. So as you can see, this Tonex pedal is very versatile. You can use it, in your pedal board. You can use it in the studio. You can profile your gear with it. You can do a host of other things. You can run all your third-party software, and you can use it as an audio interface for that, or you can use it for recording music. If you have some kind of recording software, it'll do that. So I think for $399, it's a lot cheaper than a Kemper or a Quad, and it does just as good a job, if not better, than those devices do. So I'm going to say thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.